Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I pay my humble and respectful obeisances unto him. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are on the reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10. Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. That is the subject matter we are going to see. So, last time I just briefly touched saying that Bhagavatam will discuss the different topics, and actually Srimad Bhagavatam consists of 10 topics. And now Sukhadeva Gosvami is starting to talk about these 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he says here, the first shloka of 10th canto, the 10th chapter of the second canto. Sri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utayaha Manvantara Ishanukteya Anuktaha Nirodho Muktir Ashrayaha. Sri Sukhadeva Goswami said, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following. 1. The creation of the universe. Second is the sub-creation or the secondary creation. Then the planetary systems. So, Sarga means creation, Visarga means the secondary creation. Then comes the Sthanam. Sthanam is the planetary systems. Then comes Poshanam. Poshanam is the protection given by the Lord. Then comes the Utayaha, the creative impetus. Then Manvantara, the change of Manus. Isha Anuktaha, that is the signs of God. Then Nirodha, that is returning home back to Godhead. Then Muktir, that is liberation. And Ashrayaha, the summum bonum, the ultimate end, what it is like. The taking the shelter of the Lord. That is the ultimate, finally going back to Godhead, liberation, the summum bonum of all these things. So the 10 topics are what is being discussed here. And today we will see these different 10 topics. So in the text 2, to isolate the transcendence or the summum bonum, the symptoms of the rest are described sometimes by Vedic inference, sometimes by direct explanation, and sometimes by summary explanations given by the great sages. Now when we say this summum bonum, what we need to understand is that this is the supreme shelter. The supreme shelter is what is called, that is the ashraya, that is what is being described as summum bonum. Now here, what is being explained is, let's look into the 10 topics here. Now the first is the Sarga. What is this Sarga? So this is text 3, where it is being explained. The elementary creation of 16 items of matter, namely the 5 elements, fire, water, land, air and sky. The 16 elements, what are the 16 elements? We have read these elements again and again. One is the 5 gross elements. Sky, air, then comes the fire comes the water, then comes the earth, the 5. These are the 5 gross elements. And the subtle elements connected with it are what they are. They are the sound. Then the sound comes along the sky, the sound has come, that is there. Then comes the air. When the air is there, then you get the smell. Then when the smell from the air, you get the fire. So when the fire is there, you get the form. Then comes from fire comes the water. So you get the taste. and then earth comes. Earth means the smell comes. And that is it not? Sorry, air is touch. I missed it up. Sorry, air is a touch. Okay. So sky, from there the sound is there. Then air comes. Air comes means the touch, the sensation of touch. We get it. Then comes from air we get fire. So you also know what the form is. And from fire you get the water. So you get taste. And from water you get the earth. So earth means you also get the smell. Right? So these 5 gross elements. 5 gross elements what we saw. The Panchabhutas. That is there. Then the 5, all these subtle elements we saw. And the working senses. What has been given. The working senses are, we know, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. So all this put together it becomes 15 elements. Now here is talking of 16 elements. The 16th element is the mind. These are the basic elements which were created first by the Supreme Lord before creation. So this is the Sarga, creation. He created all these basic elements were created. Now after creating these basic elements, then there comes the secondary creation, Visarga. Visarga is where the secondary creation takes place by a combination and by a reaction of these various 16 elements. So when these 16 elements, there is a combination, there is a change taking place because of the modes of material nature, then that comes known as Visarga. So that modes of material nature is also required at the time of Visarga. So that takes place. The second is Visarga. That takes. Then afterwards, so that is explained here. Then comes the third one, the right situation. Now comes the Sthiti. That is the third item, third topic of discussion. That is the right position for the living entities. So here it's explained. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of God. The Manus and Manus and the Lord are like to give right direction. The impetus for activity is a desire for fruitive work. So now let us look at this. Now you see, now the first thing is being explained here, the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect of the Supreme Personality of God. Let us try to understand this more, what is being said. Okay, all right. Now you see, what is happening is that we know that the ingredients for creation are created by the Lord in His first incarnation as Mahapurusha, as first Mahapurusha incarnate. There is some echo from somebody has to mute their system because it is echoing otherwise. Hello, Prabhu or Mataji, somebody has kept the speaker on. Please mute your audio so that it won't echo. Okay, now we saw that how the ingredients for creation have been created. That comes in Mahapurusha, Mahavishnu Avatara, the Lord comes. Mahavishnu is the first avatar, first Purusha avatar of the Lord. In the first Purusha avatar of the Lord of Mahavishnu, the Lord creates the various ingredients. Then from Mahavishnu, he goes into a second Purusha avatara, and that is the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And in Garbhodakashaya Vishnu only, through Garbhodakashaya Vishnu only, he creates Lord Brahma. So the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu is there, then the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is there, and then afterwards Brahma is also created from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Then the third expansion, the Lord takes place as Shirodakashaya Vishnu. Shirodakashaya Vishnu is a Paramatma who enters into everything in the universe. Who enters into everything in the universe, including the living entities. So even in all the living entities, the Lord is also there as Paramatma, as Shirodakashaya Vishnu is there. Now, here comes the important point here that is being explained here. The original creator of the universe is Vishnu, and he is also the maintainer of the created beings by his costless mercy. Mahavishnu is the original creator of the ingredients that are required for the creation of this universe. Then afterwards, he also takes the mode of goodness, and he, in the Sattvic Guna, he also maintains this universe. How? Because he has entered into everything in this universe as Shirodakashaya Vishnu, and he maintains it as such. So so again, and he is also the maintainer of the created beings by his costless mercy. He maintains all of us. Everything is taken care of by the Supreme Lord. Many times we think that we are the ones who are taking care, but actually he is the one who is taking care of each and everything in this universe. As such, it is the duty of all conditioned souls to acknowledge the victory of the Lord and thus become pure devotees and live peacefully in this world where miseries and dangers are always in existence. The conditioned souls who take this material creation as a place for satisfaction of the senses and thus are illusioned by the external energy of Vishnu remain again to be subjected to the laws of material nature, creation and destruction. Now we have to understand, we have been created in this material universe. We have all come into this material universe. And we are also being maintained by the Supreme Lord. He is taking care of us also very nicely. And we have a duty towards Him. And we have to understand the purpose of our creation also. Many times we think that our purpose is to simply live in this world and go back. That is not our purpose. Just live, not knowing really the purpose we are living. But once we understand the purpose of our life, then it becomes easier for us to live in this world. There is only one purpose for human beings. There are not many purposes. The purpose of human life is not to complicate and to daily from morning till night work like a donkey. That is not our purpose at all. The purpose is very simple, simply to follow the dharma by which we can go back to Goloka Vrindavana, by which we can go back to Godhead. That is the only purpose of the human beings. That is why after all various species, we reach this human form of life. But unfortunately in the human form of life, we lead a life of an animal. Or more specifically said, in the human form of life, we don't even realize what is the purpose of taking this human form of life. So as a result, because we do not know the objective, we do not know the purpose, we live like any other species and get ourselves conditioned, get ourselves entangled in this material world. That is not the purpose. That's why it is being said here, the right situation for the living entity is to obey the laws of the Lord. Now this is Sukhadeva Goswami telling. Please see this. This is being told, Sukhadeva Goswami is telling The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of God. We all can live with peace of mind. We all can live happily in this world, provided we obey the laws of the Lord. And what is the law of the Lord? He has got only simple laws he has got. He is not talking of the material plane, the laws. No, he is not talking. The law of the Lord is very simple. Simply surrender. Simply accept me, my supremacy. Simply accept your objective. Simply recognize the relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. Like previously it has been in one of the explanations I was giving. The mother is there, the child is lying on the lap of the mother. When the child is lying on the lap of the mother, for the child, the world is only the mother. And the mother also looks at the child. Both the mother and child, they look at each other and they smile, they laugh, they enjoy each other's company. When someone comes to lift the child, that baby from the mother's lap, out of affection only, the child cries. No, the child is very comfortable in the lap of the mother only. And the child, once it is again put back on the lap of the mother, the child feels very safe, secure, and again it is very happy. No, it looks at the mother's face and mother starts talking to it and the baby becomes very calm and it is happy. It's just smiling at the mother's face. Or sometimes it keeps mumbling or keeps saying something. What it says nobody knows, but it keeps saying, lying on the mother's lap, is because it is feeling very, very comfortable. Now here you see there is a natural bondage, there is an affection. Mother loves the child, the baby also loves the mother. But as the baby starts growing big, it gets distracted, it gets diverted by so many activities in this material world. When the child gets distracted by so many activities in the material world, gradually its relationship, its affection for the mother slowly reduces. It is not the same affection what it had when it was a baby lying on the mother's lap. It has reduced. And it has developed attachment and attraction for so many other things in this world. But as far as the mother is concerned, the mother's affection for the child is still the same. It has not changed. After the child grows big, he becomes a big man, he goes out of the country, he goes out for a job, and yes, he goes out of the country itself to a far off place. He is busy with his activities, he is busy with his work, he is busy with his family, he has got married, he is busy there. He doesn't think of the mother so much. But the mother still keeps thinking of the son. My son was with me, he is there, has he had his food, has he got up, what is he doing? So many things the mother keeps on thinking about the child. The son is a grown-up son, he can take care of himself in many ways, but still the mother is thinking of him. The boy has lost total contact with the mother. Let's assume that also. Let's go to the extreme case where the son doesn't even communicate with the mother, but still the mother remembers the son. After 10 years of gap, the son comes back all of a sudden. What does the mother do? Mother will still welcome him. Tell him, please come, sit, have your food, be happy. Whatever you want. What else do you want? I am willing to give everything to you. The mother does that. That's the relationship the mother has with the son. The son had the same affection when he was lying on the lap of the mother. But after growing big, because of his different attachment to different things, he has forgotten the mother, but the mother has not forgotten the son. Similarly, all we living entities, we are all children of God, we have got a relationship with the Lord, and we all want to live happily, and we think that independently we can live happily in this world. But independent of this Supreme Lord, we cannot live happily. The minute we forget the Lord, the minute we forget our relationship with the Lord and try to do so many things in this material world, trying to make our life happy, we don't become happy. We lose our peace of mind. There are so many things which we feel that we have to manage. We are forced to manage ourselves. But the minute I take the shelter of the Lord, I start obeying His orders, His rules and regulations. Manmana bhavamat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Ame vaishyasukto em atmanamat parayana. When I start following the rules of the Lord, when I obeying the laws of the Lord, and do everything that is required to satisfy the Lord or to please the Lord, automatically, naturally, that satisfaction and happiness comes in me. Naturally, I become peace. I become at peace. Why? How? But that is a fact. That is how it is. Because I am establishing my link with the Lord, automatically the Atma gets that satisfaction. And exactly that is what all of us want. But we are missing out the process. We are thinking we can do it independently. That is not going to work. Unless and until the link is there, it will not work. So that's why here says, Sukhadeva Gosvami is saying, the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the baby was lying on the lap of the Lord, it was feeling fully secured. Is it not? Nothing will happen to it. Its mother is there to protect it completely. Same is our case. We may be grown up now, but still we are under the protection of the Lord if we are lying on His lap. And how do we lie on His lap? Simply by re-establishing our relationship with Him, in case it is lost, or strengthening our relationship, bondage with Him, and doing everything in His pleasure. We make the Lord as a part and parcel of our daily activity, and when we do that, the bondage is strongly established with the Lord. And the Lord provides all the protection that is required. We don't even have to ask Him for protection. Poshanam. He gives that poshanam completely without asking for. Just like the mother gives everything the child needs without asking for. Like that, the Lord will also provide everything that is required to take care of us, provided we follow the laws of the Supreme Lord. Just like the son obeys the father takes care of him nicely, is it not? When the son says, no, I know how to take care of it, that's all right, okay, you take care of what you can. The father doesn't interfere further. He says, all right, you do what you feel you can do. But still when the son comes back, the father is still willing to, he is open. You take care. Similarly, that's why we say that one can be in perfect peace of mind. Many people complain, I don't have peace of mind, I'm stressed out, I've got this problem, that problem. That's because you're forgetting the basic purpose of human life. The basic purpose of human life is not to accumulate so many gross elements. Gross elements, after all, created by the Lord for our benefit, for our happiness here, so that we can live in this material world, utilize it in the right purpose, for the right purpose. That is why the different elements, the basic five basic elements, Panchabhutas, are created by the Lord. Not to develop an attachment for those Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas are there to facilitate our life here. The working senses, the subtle senses, the knowledge gaining senses, everything is there only to make our life comfortable here. To make our life comfortable so that we can really focus on the purpose of life. But our focus itself has shifted onto the items which are there to facilitate us. And that's where the problem starts. So, here, the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The manus and their laws are meant to give right direction in life. Now that comes under. Now people ask sometimes, what is the right direction? What am I supposed to do? How am I to do? I don't understand this. They say that. So here he says, now the direct scriptures are given by the different manus. Is it on different ages they are given it, in different millenniums they are given the different sadharma, as it is called. They are given the sadharma, they are given the right steps we are supposed to take, the right activities that we are supposed to perform for our own interest. In our own interest, they are given it to us because they understand the purpose of human life. And they want to facilitate the human beings by giving the right direction. We may want to follow. I may want to become a devotee of the Lord, but someone has to teach me the process how to become the devotee of the Lord. First of all, someone should tell me the purpose of my life. Someone should tell me that I have to become a devotee of the Lord. That is the purpose of my life. And secondly, someone should also show me the path to follow to become the devotee of the Lord. Manus are meant for that. Manus are giving us different directions. Scriptural directions they are giving, which we follow, we can follow easily the right path to become the devotees of the Lord, he says. And what he says here? The manus and the laws are meant to give right direction in life, and the impetus for activity is the desire for fruitive work. And they'll just read out what about Manu Prabhupada has written. The directive scriptures made by the manus in different ages and millenniums are called Sadharma, good guidance for the human beings who should take advantage of all the revealed scriptures for their own interest to make life's successful termination. The creation is not false, but it is a temporary manifestation just to give a chance for the conditioned souls to go back to Godhead. So one should not develop aversion for the various things that are created in this material world, because they are all true only. The creation is not false. Creation is the truth. I can see everything around me in the creation, which is there. But I should also know how to put all this creation in the service of God. That is important. So, the desire to go back to Godhead and functions performed in that direction form the right path of work. When such a regulative path is accepted, the Lord gives all protection to His devotees by His costless mercy, while the non-devotees risk their own activities to bind themselves in a chain of fruitive reactions. The word Sadharma is significant in this connection. Sadharma, or duty performed for going back to Godhead and thus becoming His unalloyed devotee, is only pious activity. All others may pretend to be pious, but actually they are not. It is for this reason only that the Lord advises in the Bhagavad Gita that one give up all so-called religious activities and completely engage in the devotional service of the Lord to become free from all anxieties due to the dangerous life of material existence. Now the various different material, the various activities, dharma, artha, kama, what we have talked of, the different various pious activities, different religious activities that we perform, and by different religious activities that we perform, by performing different religious activities, we try to please various devatas, and by pleasing various devatas, we get bestowed with a lot of benefits, and with those benefits, we try to satisfy our desires, our kama, dharma, artha, kama. Understand? So that is not the real pious act. That is not the real devotional activity. Many times people get confused between these things. This I am also doing this, I am doing this, that, so many things. But ultimately everything I am doing to get certain material benefits in this. Devotional service has got nothing to do with material. Devotional service is ultimately meant for going back to Godhead only. So what happens is, although they are performing all religious activities, all pious activities, but ultimately what happens is that there is no tinge of spirituality involved in that. They remain in this material universe, but in the 14 planet system, they remain in different species. Probably, again they take birth in Sattvic Gun. The Sattvic Guna they may take birth again. But the fact is, they still remain here. And they take a rebirth in this universe. Here our whole objective is to how to find a permanent solution for our problems. And our permanent and or rather the permanent solution for our problems. And what are our problems? Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. That is the problems. Because all the various material problems come only because of Janma in this universe. But if there is no Janma in this universe, but if we are going to get liberated and go back to the spiritual sky, go back to the Vaikuntha Lokas or to Goloka Vrindavana, then there is no question of any Janma or Mrityu or Jara or Vyadhi. There is nothing. We read that, is it not? In the last class or somewhere, like about the Nitya Siddhas, how in the spiritual sky everybody is free. There is nothing called old age. There is nothing called, we read that. There is nothing called old age. There is nothing called disease. Everybody is in their youth. In the youth means you have got so much of energy, so much of enthusiasm, so much of, you are bubbling with all the energy, and everybody looks so beautiful, attractive, lustrous they look. And everybody is engaged in the service of the Lord. In the Vaikuntha Lokas, we saw that. So that is where we have to be there. That is the right place for us to be, or rather that is our original home from where we have come, and we are only a minority that we are roaming around here. 75% of the living entities are already with the Lord. So that is what is explained here. To work situated in Sadharma is the right direction of life. One's aim of life should be to go back home, back to Godhead, and not be subjected to repeated births and deaths in the material world by getting good or bad bodies for temporary existence. Herein lies the intelligence of human life, and one should desire the activities of life in that way. So Prabhupada has explained, Prabhupada has explained this. People who are intelligent will immediately take up to devotional service of the Lord. So in this group, of course, all of us are intelligent. We can give ourselves the credit because all of us have taken up to devotional service of the Lord. We are all chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are trying to associate with the Nama avatar of the Lord. We are doing that. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Grantha avatar. There we have the Nama avatar with what we associate. And whenever we associate with the Lord by calling out His name, we are purifying ourselves. And we improve our chances of going back to Krishna Loka. So that is what is ultimately required. So that's why he says that herein lies the intelligence of human life, and one should desire the activities of life in that way. Then the next point is also being said, that is the Utaya is being explained. The impetus for activity is the desire for fruitive work. So the impetus of activity, what has been said, that's also explained here. And then the next verse comes, the signs of God. That is the other one. What was that? What is that explained in the first verse? If you go back to the first verse, it says here, Sthanam Poshnam Utyaha Manmantra Isha Anuktaha. Isha Anuktaha means the signs of God. What is the signs of God? The signs of God describes the incarnation of the Lord and His different activities, the different various leelas that He has performed, along with the different devotees, along with His different devotees. Is it not? So, there are three things here it covers. One is the incarnation of the God, the various incarnations of the Lord. That is also Ishokta, part of it. Then the activities or the leelas of the Lord, together with the activities of His devotees. All the three. So the activities of the Lord is generally connected with the activities of the devotees. So that is the Ishokta that is being explained. Then next comes the Nirodha. Nirodha is the final stage, the merging of the living entity along with his conditional living tendency, with the mystic lying down of the Mahavishnu, is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. Along with this comes the liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable gross and subtle material bodies. Now, two subject matters are covered in this subject, in this particular verse. One is the Nirodha, or the winding up of the living entity. At the end of the day of Brahma, there is a winding up process that takes place. Pralaya, mini pralaya that takes place. And in the mini pralaya, and also in the major pralaya, at the end of Brahma's life, all the living entities are merged into the abdomen of Mahavishnu. Now when all the living entities are merged into the abdomen of Mahavishnu, and in the next creation, again all these living entities are released into the material cosmos, in which form they were there before. That's why you find so many species, living entities coming out differently. There is nothing called one by one gets created. No, everybody gets released. When the new Srishti takes place, the Lord releases everybody out. And for that, in the abdomen of the Lord, everyone is lying, everyone is in a dormant situation. Now once they come out here, again they are given an opportunity here. Now here again, what we need to understand here is that we have talked of two types of living entities. Even in Bhagavad Gita also we talked about it in the 15th chapter. Nitya Siddhas and Nitya Baddhas. Nitya Siddhas are the eternally liberated souls. They are in majority, 75% are Nitya Siddhas, liberated souls. Nitya Baddhas are the bonded or the conditioned souls, like us. We are all Nitya Baddhas, and we are conditioned and bonded in this material universe. And we are only a minority. We are only 25% of all the living entities. And we keep rotating in this 14 lokas. Now, the Nitya Siddhas are there. How they become Nitya Siddhas? Nitya Baddhas can also become Nitya Siddhas, is it not? We are given an opportunity. So after the Pralaya is over, when we are released into this universe, we are all after Pralaya only we are come back. We have been released into this material universe. Now here, when we are coming to this material universe, we are also given an opportunity to understand the Supreme Lord. We are all given an opportunity to understand the Supreme Lord. How? Go to the previous verse, what he said. Ishanukta, what he said. The science of God describes the incarnations of the personality of Godhead and his different activities together with the activities of his great devotees. So here, the Lord, through his various incarnations, through his various leelas, through his own leelas, and also together with the activities of his devotees, he gives us an opportunity to understand him. He gives us an opportunity to serve him. He gives us all those opportunities. The serving is not for his, we say we are serving for your pleasure, for the pleasure of the Lord. True. But that also purifies me. That is actually, although I am serving him, actually it is for my purification. I have to do that. What service will I render to the Lord? What am I capable of rendering a service to the Lord? The Lord is self-satisfied. What can I do to please the Lord really? With what will I please the Lord? I can please you by giving you a gift, right? I can give you some gift, material gift, something what you have or something what you don't have. You may get pleased with it. But it's all material. But suppose I take it from you and I again give it to you as a gift, how much of satisfaction you are going to have? You are not going to have big satisfaction. No, No. But that's not the case with the Lord. Everything belongs to the Lord, but that what belongs to the Lord, if I give it to Him, still He gets satisfied. Just like a small boy giving a chocolate to his father. He goes and buys from the market, from the shop, the chocolate from his father's money. He has borrowed the money from his father and he has taken the chocolate, bought the chocolate, brought it. And still from the chocolate, when the son gives to the father out of love and affection, the father gets satisfied. The father feels happy. My son is giving me, all right, I will eat it. He eats. Same case with the Lord. I buy everything, I have everything only by the mercy of the Lord. But still, although I have everything by the mercy of the Lord, when I put that in the service of the Lord gets really pleased. The Lord is very happy with it. And He reciprocates for that. And that purifies me. Not that the Lord needs it, just like the Father doesn't need the chocolate, but still He accepts it. Similarly, the Lord doesn't need anything from me, but still He accepts it. Because I am giving it to Him with love and affection. By doing such a thing regularly, what I do is I keep on purifying myself by doing different devotional service, and that love and affection for the Lord develops in my heart. And gradually I progress in my devotional service from a very neophyte stage to gradually I start progressing and developing. And when I start gradually progressing and developing, all the various anarthas in my heart, they all get cleared. And the firm determination comes in my heart that Krishna is everything. He is the Supreme Lord. I have to do everything for His pleasure and happiness. And I start creating my relationship with Him. And I establish a firm relationship with Him as a result. And when I establish a firm relationship with Him, then what happens is I am able to remember Him always. That's very important. Bhagavad Gita says that. You have to remember the Lord, and even at the time of, what is the test of remembrance? At the time of quitting the body, I should be able to remember the Lord's name. I should be able to remember the Lord. And these things come simply by doing the basic devotional service of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Simply by hearing the glories of the Lord. Simply by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is Grantavatar. Associate with Bhagavatam, we can really purify ourselves. Simply chant the holy name of the Lord, we can purify ourselves. Simply remember the Lord, we can purify ourselves. Simply hear the various leelas of the Lord, that will purify us. So when I purify myself like that, I also develop that real desire to associate with the Lord. Real desire to serve the Lord in some way or the other. Either in Madhurya Rasa, Shanta Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, whatever it may be. I do not know in what rasa I am now, but I develop that realization gradually, or rather, I develop that desire to serve Him in whichever way it is. Even in Madhurya Rasa, we are only serving the Lord. Yashoda Mata was there, she was in Madhurya Rasa. She was in Vatsalya Rasa. She was in Vatsalya Rasa. And Vatsalya Rasa, what she was doing? She was serving the Lord. Is it not? Arjuna was in Sakhya Rasa. What was he doing? He was serving the Lord. So in whichever rasa you may be, still we will be serving the Lord. So in whichever rasa we still serve the Lord. And thereby serving the Lord like that, we can also go back to Krishna Loka and thus become Nitya Siddhas. We get liberated. So that is why it's being explained here. In this particular, it was said that, the merging of the living entity along with its conditional living tendency with the mystic lying down of the Mahavishnu is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. Liberation is a permanent situation of the form of the living entity. And what is a permanent situation? Liberation is the permanent situation in the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable gross and subtle material bodies. Currently we have got the changeable gross and subtle material bodies. Once we give it up and get into the permanent situation, what is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity? To get a spiritual body. And once we get the spiritual body, go back to the spiritual, and that spiritual body we get only when we go back to spiritual world. And that is our permanent situation. And there we can get into, that becomes a liberation, is a permanent situation in the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable gross and subtle material body. So this is a process by which we can get into that liberation. So this is another topic, ninth topic that is being discussed in this Bhagavatam. And the last point is being said this: the Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus is the Supreme Fountainhead, the Absolute Truth. The Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus is the Supreme Fountainhead, the Absolute Truth. So who is the Supreme? That is being explained here. So I will read the purport here. Synonyms for the Supreme Source of all energies, as explained in the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, are Janmadhyasya Yataha, Vadanti Tat Tattvavidas Tattvam Vijnanam Advayam, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shakyate, called Parabrahma, Paramatma or Bhagavan. The word iti used here in this verse completes the synonyms and thus indicates Bhagavan. This will be further explained in the later verses. But this Bhagavan ultimately means Lord Krishna, because the Srimad Bhagavatam has already accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. The original source of all energies, or the summum bonum, is the Absolute Truth, which is called Parabrahma, etc. And Bhagavan is the last word of the Absolute Truth. But even with the synonyms for Bhagavan, such as Narayana, Vishnu and Purusha, the last word is Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Mattas Sarvam Pravartate. Besides that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a representation of Lord Krishna as a sound incarnation of the Lord. That is Grantavatar, as I have been talking about. So, this is summum bonum, or the ultimately the final, the supreme shelter is Lord Krishna only, to whom we go. Now, here is, further it is being explained. Thus, by general conclusion, Lord Krishna is the ultimate source of all energies, and the word Krishna means that. And to explain Krishna or the science of Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam has been prepared. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this truth is indicated in the questions and answers by Sukhadeva Gosvami and great sages like Shaunaka, and in the first and second chapters of the canto, this is explained. In the third chapter, this subject is more explicit, and in the fourth chapter, even more explicit. In the second canto, the Absolute Truth as the Personality of Godhead is further emphasized, and indication is the Supreme Lord Krishna. The summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, as we have already discussed, is succinct. This Supreme Personality of Godhead in the ultimate issue is confirmed by Brahma in his Brahma Samhita as Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidanand Vigraha. So it is concluded in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The complete subject matter is elaborately explained in the 10th and 11th cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the matter of the changes of the Manus or Manvantras, such as the Swayambhuva Manvantra and Chakshusha Manvantra, as they are discussed in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is indicated. In the 8th canto, the Vaivasvata Manvantra explains the same subject indirectly, and in the 9th canto, the same purport is there. In the 12th canto, the same is further explained, specifically regarding the different incarnations of the Lord. Thus it is concluded by studying the complete Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Sri Krishna is the ultimate summum bonum, or the ultimate source of all energy. And according to the grades of worshippers, the indications of the nomenclature may be differently explained as Narayana, Brahma, Paramatma, etc. So now, very categorically, it has been explained and confirmed that the Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna. And from him only, the expansion takes place as Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu comes the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and from Garbhodakashaya comes the Shurodakashaya Vishnu. These are called the Purusha avatars, which are coming. And again afterwards, further various different incarnations also take place. Those things are there. So this is very clearly explained. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is only on Lord Krishna. The Narayaniam, what has come out of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is also on Krishna. Completely. Is it not? So everything is on Krishna. So because Krishna is the original source of everything. Brahma, the first creator. We all know Brahma is the first creator. As the first created living being. He says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karana. He is explaining Krishna like that. The Vedas explain Krishna is the ultimate. That's also there. The Purusha Sukta explains. It starts with Sahasra Shirisha Purusha. It starts with that. It explains. Everywhere. So we find ultimately the final shelter, that is the 10th topic or the most important topic, or all the other topics lead to that 10th topic, that is the Ashraya. Ashraya means the shelter. The final shelter is at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And that's what we have to aim for. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is taking us from beginning, slowly, gradually, step by step, it is building up and taking us to that final point of taking the full shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. So with this, I will stop the class for the day. Thank you to all of you. Thank you very much to all of you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki